Okay, so today is Friday, November the 4th, and I just want to put my side of the story because I've been living in the house in Spain that my partner purchased, which was our first home together. We each had properties in the UK, and this was our first home together. I moved here in 2016, and he didn't actually fully commit to moving in. He had his business in the UK, and so was keep travelling back to the UK to do business and coming back here to Spain. Now, when the relationship ended in August of 2020, it was very abrupt, very sudden. I hadn't any clue that he had found another woman, and basically he just terminated the relationship a very emotionally immature way, and basically then I was left here thinking, okay, what's happening? But he then wrote me a letter which spelled out what he was prepared to offer me as a financial settlement or a gift, as he put it, but it was sort of his promises of what he would do. Then on the 15th of September, well, even before that, to be quite honest, it was the house was on the market by the 30th of August. I didn't have any say in any decisions or anything. Basically, he was in control and it was his decision. So basically, from terminating the relationship on the 27th to writing me a financial offer on the 29th of August to the 30th of August, and then he has the property in Spain up for sale, and he's delivered this letter to say that he would give me no less than 50% of the value of the property, and he would help with me with paying off my property that I had in the UK, so at least I would have some income. So I'd have a sum of money to actually go and purchase a property, and a sum of money that I would pay the mortgage off and have a rental income. So I could rent a property and have an income coming in, or I could have the capital that I would be able to live on. Whichever way, that's the offer that he was putting down on the table at that time. Within 4 days of this house going on the market, he had feedback from an agent to say I had said some negative comments to her clients. And as soon as he heard that, he came into the bedroom and I was threatened. He was in charge and I had to do as he said. And if I didn't do as he said, then I would be out on the streets. And that was on the 4th of September. Now, he obviously was starting to lose control, and in his mind, he was the one who had to have his way. So then by the 15th of September, he was supposed to meet to discuss a proposal I had put to him on the 12th of September. And my proposal was that he was going to gift this money to pay my mortgage off, but he had said I couldn't have that money until after I had left this property. And I was in a situation where I couldn't trust this man anymore, because where was I going to go? I didn't have any money. I didn't have any job. I didn't have any business that I could do at that point. So leaving the property and expecting to be paid money was not an option, and didn't have any legal representation either. So basically then I had put this proposal to him on the 12th of September, which was my property value was under 100,000 and I guessed around 90,000. So if he was going to repay a part of the mortgage, which was a very small part that was owed, I would gift him a 30% stake. So that would mean that that money would be parked in that property, but at least it would be paid off and I would have the rent as income to move forward, which meant that for a start I would have money to buy food, I would have money to pay for my health insurance, money to pay for my car and car insurance, to be able to travel around. We're 20 minutes from any sort of shops or anything in the countryside in this property. So that was how I put my proposal. Then on the 15th we were meant to discuss that proposal, but in this in his state of mind, I was very fearful. He had seen GoFund page that I'd put together, because he was going to offer me the chance to purchase this property, and I wanted to make some sort of business. And I thought I'll put a GoFund page together. Now, I'd never shared it publicly, but I did share it to some people very privately, message to them. Only one of a mutual friend actually shared that, shared the page public to her Facebook profile, and then he saw the page and then was angry and was starting to send nasty messages and text messages to me. So I tried to diffuse the situation, and basically he was asking, is there any point in coming to this meeting? Is there any point in being, to discuss things? I basically said yes, as long as he wasn't angry or abusive. And that was the text I sent back to him on that day. So on the 15th of September, he came to the property supposedly to discuss this proposal. And I had already asked in advance if he was okay that this meeting be recorded, because I thought, in my state of mind, not having been sleeping very well, and all of the trauma I was going through and the grief I was going through at that point, that it would be better to record a meeting between us, plus it might stop him from being abusive. So he agreed that the meeting could be recorded. And so that meeting took 23 minutes, in which time he didn't discuss anything to do with the proposal I'd sent, because he shut me down and I wasn't able to speak. I wasn't able to communicate anything. And then he basically did become abusive, and it's all on tape and it's all recorded. So 2 weeks after he left, after his proposals, this was in September, he left 2 weeks into October. The agent has decided to take the house off the market because a friend had intervened, following some emails that he'd sent to me, still trying to control me, telling me, this is what he expects from me, and leaving a long list in an email of everything that he was expecting that I would do, when he didn't no longer have any control over me anymore, because obviously it terminated the relationship. So why should I actually have to do his bidding type of thing? I didn't have to. And so I had a breakdown, emotional breakdown, and a friend stepped in and phoned the agents, and then basically the house was taken off the market. When that happened, he got even more angry, and basically then I was receiving email saying that he was going to go to court. Eventually I would be evicted from the house. I would have to leave with just my personal possessions, and that was the way I've lived since of 2020. So then the court heard his case in June of 2022. It took so long to get to the civil court. It was June 2022. We'd had 4 or 5 different attempts to come to some settlement, and nothing was agreed, because basically every time there was something on the table, some offer on the table, he basically moved the goalposts, changed the offer, and you can't really negotiate with a man who tells you in a verbal meeting that's recorded that you can't negotiate with him, because you can't negotiate a gift. And he's already said that, in this meeting. And so I very quickly found out you couldn't negotiate with him, because he kept moving the goalposts, and that was unreasonable. And I never had any legal representation either. So then the court case was heard, and then the lawyer went to appeal, and that was in July. And I'm still here, and it's November, and I'm still in the property. And so he thought he would get the keys back within a couple of weeks of that hearing. It didn't happen. And he got frustrated or angry or something. So by July the 1st, he was then communicating with his lawyer that he wanted to file a criminal case against me. And then that's what he did. So in October of 2022, last month, I had the police at the gate here. Now, bearing in mind that I've already been to a civil court, to see the police with their flashing lights outside the gate, me having to go over when it's like sort of getting dark, and stand at the gate where 2 Garda Civil were there to present me with a letter, and I thought, oh no, I've only got 3 days to go. I've only got 3 days, and I was panicking in my mind. So then I'm asking them what it's about, and they say that this person, my ex, basically, has filed some various minor misdemeanors, and I'm thinking, oh, what's he doing now? What's, minor misdemeanors? So I take the summons letter and have to go and collect the documents in 2 days after that. So I collect the documents, most of the documents in Spanish, some of it is in English, and I check through the document, and I end up translating a lot of it. And I basically see the allegations that are against me, and then further into the document, this specialist Barcelona law firm that he's instructed for his civil case and now the criminal case have actually put in the document in capital letters the crimes that I'm alleged, and then after that is the different point of law that they're looking at, and then how much prison sentence is attached to each allegation. So this is a summary of the allegations that I've translated from Spanish into English. So it's basically the crime of disclosure of secrets, which is a maximum of 5 years in prison. The crime of injury, which is a maximum 14 months fine. The crime of slander, which is 2 years in prison. The crime of harassment, which is a further 2 years in prison. The crime of misappropriation, which is 3 years of prison. And the crime of theft, which is 18 months in prison. And a crime of damages, which can be 3 years in prison. So all told, the cumulative combined prison sentence of these alleged crimes is 15 years. And basically that document had been given to me after all of everything that's happened, 2 years of being under the threat of eviction and trying to come to arrangement, trying to come to a settlement, not once, not twice, maybe 5 times there's been attempts to come to settlement. And the last time that was July of 2021, when he had a buyer for this property. And even though he had a buyer and he was saying, right, okay, here is what I'm prepared to do, he even moved the goalposts on that one as well, because he changed the offer. It was supposed to be a £10,000 payment within a few weeks. Then it was supposed to be that on sale agreed, there would be a further £30,000 paid. Then when the buyers were supposed to go to the solicitors to pay the deposit down, he'd sent me the document that I'd typed up, which was our agreement that we'd sat down and worked out, and he'd changed it. He changed it to the 30,000 was not going to be paid until completion of the sale, which is not the same as sale agreed. And so I couldn't go ahead with that when he changed the agreement, because at the gender violence basically advice, I was given the information to say, look, any agreement has to be money paid first, then leave, not leave and then money. So that is the advice I've been given from the gender violence lawyer, right? So basically now, I've been told by a solicitor that this criminal case now, when it starts, could take anything up to 3 years. So there is 2 years in the civil case, the further 3 years in the criminal case. That's 5 years where I haven't even been able to actually move on or do anything. Every time I start to get somewhere, every time I feel in a better place, then another thing comes in where is the case at the court, or now this, with his solicitors threatening these crimes. So, as a woman who's separated and not been left basically high and dry in Spain, trying to rebuild a life, and then to be basically threatened again with all this action, legal action, and it's well documented that, can I say it? Abusers actually abuse their ex-wives, ex-partners, after the relationship's finished, but I don't know why. I mean, obviously there's some punishment or perceived wrongdoings, but they just want to keep on punishing people. There's one woman in America called I've forgotten her name. Anyway, she wrote a blog called One Mum's Battle. She spent 10 years in and out of courts fighting a battle against her ex-husband after their divorce. 10 years in legal battles. And I guess I'm not the only woman who is spending years and then having to get public defence because I haven't got the funds to pay for my own defence, because obviously, you know, I'm stuck here, and every time I try to actually better myself, you're faced with a further trauma, a further event, further emotional upset. And I just got to the point now where I just think, you know, what's the point anymore? Because you can't have a peaceful, happy life where you can actually move forward and do something for yourself. It's just not possible when you've got someone in the background who's determined to break you down emotionally, psychologically, and leave you financially devastated.